Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to our first basic grammar lesson. These are useful as reminders of what we've gone over in class, so use them as such, but don't rely on them too heavily. First off, basic grammar. We've already discussed this, but rather than looking at all your parts of speech and stuff like that like a traditional grammar book would do first, and then figuring out what they do, we're going to look at what makes up a sentence and then break it down and find out the various parts of speech from that. I think that's probably going to be a more effective way. So first off, what makes a sentence? Sentence has subject, and a predicate. Now the subject is what does something. It's the star of your sentence. And the predicate is what the subject does. Every sentence, and this is going to be something I will drill into your brains day in and day out, every sentence has to have a subject, a predicate, and it has to express a complete thought. So something has to do something, and it has to be complete. So what does that mean? In a very basic sense, you could have a two-word sentence. And we'll keep it very simple. We'll say writers. This is your subject. Writers, it's a noun. It's a thing. What do they do? That's on the right side of the sentence. They write. Okay. A little period after it. That is a complete sentence. Writers is your subject. Predicate is write. It's what they do. Makes a full sentence, right? It's not very fancy, but it's everything we need. It's a full thought. Writers write. Okay. If you said, what do writers do? And you say writers write, you're good. Now, this is the diagram. Traditional diagram starts off with subject on the left, predicate on the right. Predicate or verb. Predicate involves the verb and all its modifiers. Now, what's a modifier, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. A modifier tells you more about the word it modifies. You know, if you modify your car, maybe you've added some stripes to the paint, or you've, I don't know, put in one of those little things, or whatever you want to do, but you're changing it. And it's the same thing. A modifier changes our perception of a word. So if I say bad, that's telling you what kind of writers. And then we could also modify what they do. You know, read that. Bad writers write badly. Badly is telling you how they write. Bad tells you who they are, or what they are. Now these modifiers always start and slant off to the right, and they hang off the word that they modify. It's a very visual, specific kind of thing. Tells you which word is which. And depending on what they modify, they're called different parts of speech. So bad modifies the writers, which is a noun. So bad is what we call an adjective. And badly tells you how they write. It's modifying the verb write. So it's an adverb. Adverbs modify three things. They modify verbs, they modify adjectives, and they modify other adverbs. We won't get into all that now, but it's something to be aware of in the beginning. So let's just review what we've got. basic sentence has three things: subject, predicate, and complete thought. Oh, come on. Well, you know what I'm saying. Those are the three things every sentence must have. To diagram a sentence, the very first thing you do is you isolate the subject and you figure out what the subject does. It's the verb on the right. So then you draw a line under them, and then a line going all the way through that line that separates the subject from the verb. Then if you want to have modifiers, you hang them off the words that they modify. Good enough? All right, that's good for today.